Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to our next math lesson, Chapter 1, Lesson 12. And we are going to be working today on finding the missing parts of 10. Okay? Before we get started, make sure that you have your math textbook, okay? And you should also have your part whole mat, okay? Work with that, I believe, yes, work mat number 3. And have your 2 color counters, a pencil, and an eraser, okay? And if you want to use your whiteboard to follow along with the problem of the day, that certainly would be good too, or just a piece of paper, all right? So why don't you go get those things, pause the video, and then come back. Okay, so as we do every time, before we start our lesson, the essential question that we are learning on how to solve is, how do you add numbers? And our problem of the day, you need to write a number sentence to solve this. Okay, this is just a little practice here. Sandra and her mother go to the market. They buy 3 red peppers and 3 green peppers. How many peppers do they buy in all? So while you work on this problem and write the number sentence, pause the video. Okay, so they had 3 red, my favorite, and 3 green. So 3, and we're adding because it says in all, plus 3. Now, if you had your, remember, don't forget the symbol. Always have to have the symbols for it to make sense. And that's right, there were 6 peppers in all. Okay. All right. Good job, boys and girls. Okay, so now let's go to our next. We're going to investigate math, okay? So here we are, we're being math detectives. It says, how can we use objects to find missing parts of 10? Well, if we want to find parts of 10, we could always start with 10 counters of some sort, right? Okay. And, I guess we'd have to also know what part we do know about, right? All right, so let's work on this a little bit to see what they want us to do. So for this part of it, you are going to need your part whole mat, okay? So that's work mat 3. Now here's the directions. You are going to need your 2 color counters for this as well. Okay, so it says place between 1 and 9 counters into the top left box. Well, this is the top and this is the left side. All right. And how many yellow counters do you need to make 10? All right, so let's do this. Oh, I don't want that one. Okay, I want these. All right, so between 1 and 9, all right, I'm going to put 3 because we get to pick the first number. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we know there's 3 red. They want to know how many yellow do we need to make a sum of 10, because the sum is also the whole, and they have the answer here, but we need the other part. So that's what they mean by finding the missing part of 10. Well, the best way that I know how is we're going to keep moving yellow counters until we count up to 10. But we don't start at 1, right? Because we already know there's 3 red. So we're going to call what we call counting on. So we are at 3. So the next number is, that's right, 4. All right, ready? And remember, we have to stop at 10. 4, 5, 6. You can move yours too. 7, 8, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm stopping at 10, but now I have to find out how many yellow ones I moved. So we're going to go and count just the yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then they told me to write the answer in the blank. So it's 7 is the missing number, okay? So that's kind of a way, one of the ways that we are going to figure out or solve, be our math detective, a missing number of the missing amount in 10. Okay, now here is your, I want you to get out your math textbook, turn to page 81, pause now until you get to that page. Okay, so now you're on page 81. It's a nice picture of, oh, at the top of your page there, you see that frog? Ooh, looks like he's ready to jump off the page. Okay, now you should also have those 2 color counters there, all right? And I'm going to read the little math story that it has there. There are 10 frogs in all. We already know there's 10, okay? 8 of the frogs are in the pond. All right, and then the rest are in the grass. Okay, so the best thing to do is you always work with what you know. We know that there's 10 altogether, but we also know that 8 of them are in the pond. So I'm going to move my 8 frogs into the pond. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. They want to know how many of the frogs are on the grass. So remember what I said about counting on. You start, we have 8, then you continue. We don't start at 1. Okay, so we know there's 8. Now I'm going to use my yellow. 9, 10, and we stop because we know there's 10 altogether, okay? Now they want to know how many are on the grass. That's right. So the answer right now is 2, okay? 2. Now if you're a little unsure that your answer equals 10, always go back and count all of the counters together. Okay, make sure that it doesn't equal more than 10. All right. Okay, so now let's move on to the next. See and show. All right. Okay, so the whole is 10, the answer. And we know that one part is 3. Okay. So they want to know what the other part is. Now, yes, they do have the answer here and they have all the counters here. But one of the things that I want to remind you is that I always say start with 10 here and put the part that you know up there. Okay? They can do this on paper. They show everything like this. Okay? But here's my concern if we had counters that we could move on our part whole. If one of these slides somewhere or turns over, it could mix you up. So always start with 10, okay? And then it said one part is 3. So when you move this up, which of course you can't do on paper, that's why they do it like this. But when you move it up, okay, you're going to put the 3. 1, 2, and 3, right? That leaves everything else, and you could flip it over to the other color. So now let's count as we move it. And I'm going to do just like I did here, how I showed the lines. All right, I'm going to move it, make believe, up to the other part. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can really move yours. 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the missing part is 7. All right, and it happened to show the answer to us right here. Okay, that 3 plus 7 equals 10. All right, and they're showing that we can use the counters. All right, now we're going to use our little workmat 3, okay, and they have pictures here, but again, remember what I said. Start with 10 and then move them up, okay? Now, this one you can obviously just count, okay? But you're going to see why in a little bit I make the suggestion of using the counters, okay? So figure out, write your answer in the part, but the most important place to put your answer is in the box because they want you to complete the missing number in the addition sentence. All right, so work on that and come back, okay, to check your answer. Okay, so pause now. Okay, boys and girls, here is the answer, all right, for those two problems. All right, before we continue with on your own, it says you know one of the parts and the whole. How do you find the other part? Well, we said you could count on up to that, right? Or since you know the whole, which in this case is 10, you could take away the piece, the part that you know, and what's left is your other part. So look at that. You have two different ways to do that. Okay, now, all right, boys and girls, they want you to use the counters and the work mat. Okay, remember what I said. All right, start with 10 of these. Okay, here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have 10 counters in the whole, which is your sum. I know that there's 7 here, so I'm going to move 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, what's left is going to be the other part. 1, 2, 3. So what answer goes here? That's right, 3. Okay, so print your 3 here, and then I would like you to figure out, all right, work on number 4 and pause and come back and check your answer. Okay, boys and girls, here's your answer. See, we figured out 3, and good job. Okay, now on the next ones I'm showing you, all right, it's the same thing for 5, 6, 7, and 8. You're going to pause the video, work on it, and come back and check your answer. Okay? If you're off by 1, if you have one too many, like if you have a 3 or a 1 here, you probably didn't start with you may not have started with the correct number of counters, so make sure you have 10. Okay, pause. And here are your answers. All right, so let's turn and look at page 84, where there are problem solving. All right, I will read it to you, and then you can work on it with your part whole math. There are 10 apples. That's your whole. 3 of the apples are green. The rest of the apples are red. How many apples are red? Pause and work. That's right, 7. Number 10. Javier has 10 leaves. 2 of the leaves are orange. The rest are yellow. How many yellow leaves does he have? Okay, use your counters and part, whole. Pause. And the answer is 8. Good job. Okay, so let's see. Angelo wrote the missing part. Tell why Angelo is wrong. Make it right. Okay, I want you to pause and figure out what it should be first. Okay, so did you figure that out? What do you think that should be? I'm trying to move this over here. All right. Okay. How many parts are there? That's right. There are 8 parts left. Okay, so he wrote the wrong part, right? Should be 8, not 7, because 2 plus 7 equals 9, not 10. Okay. All right, boys and girls. Well, you did a very good job with the math today. All right. If by some chance there's a part of this lesson you did not understand, you certainly can go back, okay, and replay it and work on it again. And don't forget, we will be practicing missing parts when we get together in our group. Okay? Good job.